is the point of all this if we can't blow up 3 tiny cruisers?
That's how we're gonna win. Not fighting what we hate, saving what we love.
You have failed me for the last time.
5 years ago, Disney released this abomination. I tried to get this video out on the 15th, but I didn't realize that this video was going to take as long as it did. So yeah, sorry about that. I really can't believe Star Wars has been dead for 5 years already. That's crazy. I thought I'd give The Last Jedi a rewatch because I'm bored. And spoiler alert, it's actually worse than I thought it was. The Last Jedi fails the movie in almost every single aspect. So yeah, if you don't care about my opinion and don't want to hear me rant about this movie, then go away. I know this is a very long review, so there's time codes in the description for you. You can skip around if you'd like, I don't really care, but I'd appreciate it if you watch the entire video. I'll personally mail you a cookie or something, I don't know. Anyways, I hope you enjoy this video. The Last Jedi begins with the Resistance evacuating thanks to dumbass deadbeat Dad Han because he brought the Falcon back to the base knowing full well that the First Order was tracking them. Then Chewie makes it even worse by bringing it back a second time.
Good job.
Then you got Poe with his dumb yo mama jokes. Ha 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 ha, look at Hux, he's such a clown. He's so stupid here. He's supposed to be like this experienced officer or whatever, but he can't seem to understand that Poe's just messing with him to buy time. This is what I don't get about this movie. Why do all the villains have to be clowns? They're all idiots. Hux gets ragged all around for the entire movie. Kylo throws little bitch fits when he doesn't get his way, like a spoiled little brat who didn't get the toy he wanted at the toy store. And Snoke has the most ridiculous face when he dies. How are you supposed to feel threatened by the First Order when all the higher-ups are played for laughs? Imagine if Darth Vader threw a temper tantrum when Luke got away in Cloud City. Or imagine if Darth Vader was screaming all the time like Kylo Ren. Darth Vader only yells one time in the OT.
Commander, tear this ship apart until you found those plans and bring me the passengers. I want them alive.
And he's hardly even yelling here, too. And listen to this.
Bring my shuttle.
He's not screaming at his officers after Luke escaped. Sure, he's pissed off, you can clearly tell by the tone of his voice, but he's not taking it out on his men because they have nothing to do with this. If this was Kylo, he'd slaughter anyone he saw, and he'd be screaming at the top of his lungs. Anyways, I'm getting off track here. Sorry about that. Everyone and their mother knows about how dumb the Resistance bombers are. They move so slow for absolutely no reason at all. And they have no reason to be in this movie either. Y-Wings are a thing since before the Clone Wars, and they are much faster and more efficient than these slow, useless Resistance bombers. So why are they going backwards with technology? Like, really, why are they doing that? Shouldn't they be going forwards? Maybe you have new Y-Wings that are faster and more powerful and more efficient. Like, kind of what they did with the new X-Wings and the new TIE Fighters and the new A-Wings. Why the fuck are they downgrading the Y-Wings? The things that can bomb and disable literal ships. That seems pretty useful to me. And it's not like Disney forgot about Y-Wings because in Rogue One, which only came out a year before The Last Jedi, the Y-Wings disabled an entire Star Destroyer, which then leads the Rebels to get a Hammerhead Corvette thing and ram the two Star Destroyers together. I don't see any X-Wings or A-Wings disabling capital ships, so why replace the Y-Wing of all things? Also, in The Rise of Skywalker, there are Y-Wings. So what's going on here? Why didn't the Resistance use Y-Wings in The Last Jedi? You can't say, oh, the Resistance is poor and they can't afford Y-Wings. They were literally funded by the New Republic, which was destroyed only like a day before The Last Jedi. So they should definitely have Y-Wings. There's no excuses. And I don't care if Rian Johnson wanted it to be like World War II. because you can't go against in-universe technology to make a movie like World War II. Y-Wings had been there for 40 years at the time in 2017. Now, George Lucas did have a lot of inspiration from a bunch of wars and stuff, but all that stuff George did made sense and felt natural because he's not a round-headed, retarded fuck. I've heard people say that Y-Wings are useless and weak. Look at how easily Darth Vader destroyed them. They failed the trench run. Well, you fucking moron, the answer to that is he's Darth fucking Vader. He destroyed like everyone there. Of course he's gonna be skilled because he's an actual good and threatening villain. Unlike other people. So yeah, all the dumb bombers get blown up, and Rose's sister that nobody cares about dies. Oh no, how sad. I think it's funny how they instantly destroy all the other bombers, but then the important one just doesn't blow up until the story needs it to. That's some genius writing right there. Good job, Ryan. You get a cookie. All the fighters become such terrible shots, too, and they hit just the right spots so Paige can still survive, and just the right spots to make it extra difficult for her to blow up the dreadnought. It's ridiculous. Also, that catch of hers is so stupid. There's no way in hell she was actually able to do that. So we get to the Force Awakens cliffhanger, which got everyone excited for the next movie, even though The Force Awakens is terrible, but that's a video for another day. Luke throws his dad's lightsaber off a cliff to subvert your expectations. 14 minutes in, and Rian Johnson has already pulled this trick. I'm going to go more in depth about Luke's character assassination later on in the video, by the way, so don't you worry. I didn't forget. There's something that really bothers me and a lot of others, including fans, of this movie. What I'm referring to is when Luke's like, wait, where's Han? And it cuts to Kylo Ren. Why? Why would Ryan do that? Who doesn't want to see Luke's reaction to Han's death? His best friend. There's a deleted scene where Luke finds out, and it gives me chills watching it. Why was it deleted? Really, I don't see any reason for it to be deleted. Ryan literally hates the fans. He definitely did this on purpose. We can't give characters everyone loves important character moments. We can't have emotional scenes for those characters. Why give the fans what they want when you can subvert their expectations?
Chewie, what are you doing here?
He said you're coming back with us.
Wait, why does Rey have to translate Chewbacca for Luke? They've known each other for 34 years. I'm pretty sure she can understand Chewie. The fuck? Man, she really can do everything, huh? How does a girl from Jakku know to speak Wookiee? Fucking Mary Sue ass. So then Kylo goes to see Snoke, and Snoke just starts shit-talking Hux for no reason whatsoever. He's right there, dude, and he's staring directly at you. Don't you think he can hear you? No? Okay, man. For some reason, Snoke tells Kylo to take off his ridiculous mask. If it was ridiculous, why'd you give it to him in the first place? And if you didn't give it to him, then why'd you even let him wear it? It's kind of your fault. So Snoke spits facts at Kylo, which leads him to fucking cry and have a little temper tantrum, smashing his helmet into the wall. Do you see what I mean when I say it's hard to take any of these clowns seriously? The main villain of the entire trilogy is crying like a baby and throwing fits because some melted candle in a bathrobe called him a little bitch. I don't think any child of Han Solo's would be acting like this. I think it's funny how Last Jedi defenders always quote this scene and use it to call the Last Jedi haters morons.
I think what? I'm gonna walk out with a laser sword and face down the whole First Order?
Like, oh, what do you expect Luke to do, guys? Do you just want him to go and kill everyone? You guys are just idiots. All you want are pew-pews and lightsabers. That's all you want. You just want to turn off your brains and look at explosions.
Nobody is saying that he should take down the entire First Order by himself. He'd die if he did that. Everyone is saying he needs to stop jacking off on that stupid island with Disney's shameless merchandise. Nobody wants to see their hero, Luke Skywalker, drinking green titty milk and crying about how he's a failure at life.
It certainly surprised me to hear Luke say it's time for the Jedi to end. I said, what?
Yeah.
Luke was the most optimistic, hopeful character. And
Yes.
I had a real, sort of a back and forth with Ryan. I said, Ryan, a Jedi doesn't give up.
If anyone knows Luke Skywalker, it's Mark Hamill. The only person who knows more about Luke Skywalker is George Lucas himself. Just because you liked Luke in this movie doesn't mean Luke would actually act that way. Also, why is Luke calling a lightsaber a laser sword? Now, I understand that Anakin called it that, so this is just some half-assed attempt to pay tribute or whatever the fuck, but he has been a Jedi for 34 years and probably never heard anyone call a lightsaber a laser sword. Anakin was a 9-year-old slave who was out of touch with reality. So it actually makes sense for him to say that. It makes no sense for Luke to say that at all. So then, admittedly, we get a nice scene between Kylo Ren and Leia. He's about to fire some torpedoes into the command center, or whatever it's called. I don't really care. But then he just can't bring himself to do it because he can't hurt his mother. And then suddenly 2 TIE fighters do it for him. And you'd think this would kill Leia, but nope, we gotta subvert expectations again. When Leia started flying, I remember I was dying in the theater. Like, what the hell is going on here? Fucking Mary Poppins looking ass.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all!
How would you survive the vacuum of space? It's impossible. Like, you're gone, you're dead, bye. You could say, this is a fictional universe, so you can give it the benefit of the doubt. Because in Star Wars, you can hear sound in space, which is not realistic at all. Well, you can't say that, because in Star Wars, you actually can't survive the vacuum of space. You want to know how I know? Space troopers are a thing. They've been a thing since 1977. That's right, bitches. It's very easy to miss them, but they still exist. And look, they have backpacks with tubes running through them to their helmets. That's because it's most likely their oxygen source. So yeah, you can't survive in space in Star Wars. And in the Clone Wars episode, The Rising Malevolence from Season 1, you have droids killing clones by breaking the windows of their escape pods, sending them out into space. And listen to what Plo Koon says.
I can withstand the pressure for a brief time. Put your helmets on.
So that means space will fucking kill you. And one last thing. In Season 2, Episode 2, The Cargo of Doom, Anakin and Ahsoka are both wearing helmets in space. So yeah, well, that settles that. But let's just forget about all of that. How did she survive the fucking explosion? Was it the will of the Force? They used the will of the Force to explain literally everything in this trilogy. How did Rey beat Kylo Ren with no training? It was the will of the Force. How did Maz find Anakin's lightsaber? Will of the Force! She didn't even lose any limbs. Her clothes are completely intact. No tears or holes. There's not even little burn marks or anything. How is that even possible? Was she even in an explosion? Are we even watching the same movie anymore? What am I doing with my life? There's no scratches or scrape marks on her face whatsoever. She has all her rings on and her bracelets, and somehow the beacon for Rey she had just so happened to fall out of her hand in front of Finn. It didn't fall off during the explosion or when she was flying into space. No, it fell off at the exact moment it needed to for the story. I bet it was the will of the Force. If this movie was written by literally anyone other than Rian Johnson, she'd be dead. Also, the way she got sucked out into the vacuum of space looked very painful. Her bones would definitely break from that. That alone could have killed her if the explosion didn't. I am convinced Rian Johnson was on crack while writing this movie.
Shazam!
So, while I was editing this video, I kind of noticed something. How come the command center wasn't shielded? I get that they said that they need to put more power to the rear shields, but, like, why have the command center be unprotected? The most powerful people in the Resistance are in there, like Leia and Admiral Akbar. There's TIE fighters flying around the entire ship, which puts all the leaders at risk. Why wouldn't you shield them? The Resistance would be fucked without them. And if they didn't want to shield the command center, then why didn't they relocate to someplace safe where it is shielded? Kind of like Admiral Holdo did. It just shows the lack of care and effort Ryan puts into his writing. Alright, that's all. Back to the video now. Admiral Holdo comes in and, oh boy, this is where this movie starts getting really stupid. Well, it was already stupid, but it's even stupider now. Holdo had no reason not to tell Poe the plan. She should tell Poe the plan so he doesn't go out and do something stupid like become the leader of a mutiny, taking over the entire ship. Oh wait, he does do that. Nice going, Holdo. Leia trusts Poe, and Holdo trusts Leia. So why didn't she tell him? There's no way in hell she could have thought Poe was a spy. He destroyed an entire dreadnought, which was a huge blow to the First Order. He would be the last person to be a spy. Seriously, this movie makes no sense at all. And why would it even matter if he's a spy? If there's a spy, they'd call the First Order and say, hey, we're on some transports going to that planet right there. You want to shoot at us? Or they contact the First Order while they're on Crait and say, hey, we're on Crait. You want to bring some guys down here? Kill everyone? Yeah, thanks. So yeah, it makes no difference if she told him or not. The moral behind her character is so stupid, too. Trust your superiors no matter what. Believe in women no matter what. Because there's not a single woman who's lied to everyone, or who is crooked as fuck, or just a downright evil person. No, all women are saints. What a great message for kids. Follow orders no matter what your beliefs are. Never stand up for yourself or anyone else. Just obey without question. I think Disney might be trying to conquer the fucking world. That's not good. You know, Poe isn't an idiot. He's not gonna do anything bad if she tells him the plan. She could be like, hey, listen, Poe. I know everyone is a little stressed out right now, but just don't tell anyone our plan. Because I don't want this getting out to the First Order. Our lives are depending on this. Got it? Good. Thanks. Get out of here. That's all she had to do. I know for a fact he'd listen to her too, but no, she can't do the logical thing. She has to take shots at Poe, calling him a dangerous, trigger-happy flyboy, and then she tells him to stick to his post and follow orders. I think she's literally fucking trying to get Poe to commit treason. Seriously, why is she doing this? She's so stupid. He keeps asking her over and over to tell him that they have a plan. Tell him that there's hope. And she just gets mad at him for no reason. Then she tells Poe this.
You have bet the survival of the Resistance on bad odds and put us all at risk?
Bitch! What the fuck are you talking about? Listen, I know this trilogy wasn't planned out, but I want you to think about this. Canonically, there's a 1 in a million chance she would destroy the Star Destroyers with a hyperspace ram. So who the fuck is she to tell Poe that he is betting the survival of the Resistance on bad odds and putting them all at risk? She is such a stuck-up bitch. But let's forget about that. She's still being a massive hypocrite in the context of just this movie alone. Her plan is so unbelievably dumb. There's so many other things she could have done that were much safer. But nope, she had to send out all the transport ships to Crait. You're a genius, Holdo. You're a real genius. That plan could go horribly wrong. And guess what? It did. Because DJ told the First Order. So I want you to think about this. Finn and Rose go on a small ship and leave undetected. So it begs the question, why didn't the Resistance just load as many people onto the little transports as possible and escape to a planet far away? It could take a while, but it'd still work. Or, if they couldn't jump into hyperspace with enough ships, why didn't they just send people out in the little ships that Finn and Rose used to get more fuel for the transports? It is insane how stupid Rian Johnson truly is. Roundhead ass. Leia said that Holdo knew that the First Order wasn't monitoring the little transports, so then why didn't Holdo jump into hyperspace in the smaller transport ships? Finn and Rose were able to escape undetected, as I said before, and Poe literally tells Holdo about Finn and Rose too. So you're telling me that she didn't even think of having the transports jump to light speed? Are you telling me that nobody else even thought about that? None of you idiots did? Not even Poe? Holy shit! Everyone in the Resistance has the IQ of a donut. So does Rian Johnson. When you're writing a story, you actually have to think about what you're writing about. Does this make sense? Why are characters doing what they're doing? Is it in character for them to do this? I guess it's just too much to ask for, isn't it? I'm sorry that you have to think when you're writing. I know, it's very hard. But you have to use your brain. Maybe round-headed freaks don't have brains. I shouldn't be judging him. I'm sorry. I don't understand how Holdo knew that the First Order wasn't monitoring the little transports. There's no possible way she'd know. Unless she just assumed it, which is really dumb of her. You should never just assume something like that when lives are at stake. And just remember that Holdo said this to Poe.
You have bet the survival of the Resistance on bad odds and put us all at risk?
Yeah, let that sink in. So, what if the First Order was monitoring little transports? Then the Resistance would all die because she's going off of her own guesses. The First Order should have been monitoring every single transport ship. They are idiots for not doing that, because then the Resistance can escape under their noses. And Holdo shouldn't assume that they are dumb enough not to track them, because in doing so, she's betting the survival of the Resistance on bad odds and putting them all at risk. Jesus Christ! Everyone in this movie is so stupid! Holdo deserved the mutiny for not telling Poe the plan. He wouldn't have sent Finn and Rose, putting them all at risk, if she just told him. She's such a bad leader, it got to the point where everyone, including the audience, thought she was evil. I literally thought she was when I first saw it. Well, I guess it's because of the expectation subversion. But why? If you're a leader, why would you want to seem fucking evil? That's not a good idea, because then you're gonna have people who are like, oh shit, that bitch is evil. I don't trust her with my life. What about you guys? And let's fucking take over this ship.
She was more interested in protecting the light than she was seeming like a hero.
Okay. And I don't get your point. You can still protect the light and look like a hero. Luke Skywalker did that. Leia did that too, and she's the one saying this. So, yeah, there's that. Imagine if she was working for the First Order. It would make so much more sense. Like, how can they track them through hyperspace? Because that's pretty stupid. Like, they don't explain how they can do that in the movie, and if Holdo was a spy, it would explain that, because that means she's just telling them that. And it would explain the abnormal way she's acting. Like, why is she being such a stuck-up bitch? Is she on her fucking period? I don't know. It's a mystery. It could be kind of like On Crait on Umbara, sabotaging the clones, telling them things that'll get them killed. Then they figure out he's evil and he goes insane. You know, stuff like that. But nope, we can't have an interesting story. We have to have one that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And I find it so funny how people defend this. Like,
oh, it's a very powerful statement about how we don't trust female leaders. Like, bro, shut the fuck up. She seemed evil. You can't just trust somebody because they're a woman. Women can be evil too. There's evil women in Star Wars. There's literally one in this trilogy. If Holdo was replaced with Admiral Akbar, like so many people said, everyone would still be pissed if he wasn't telling Poe the plan. Nobody's making it out to be some retarded gender bullshit. Like, oh, all women are bad. You can't trust them. Nobody thinks that. This isn't the 50s. You know, I think it's so funny how they're trying to push the message that females can be leaders and you should listen to them more, even though there's Leia, which is a character everyone in the Alliance loves, respects, trusts, and listens to, in both trilogies. I never even thought about it being a bad thing that they're listening to Leia, who is a woman.
And I'm 100% sure that 99.9% of Star Wars fans would say the exact same thing I just said. Also, Mon Mothma is a woman who is the literal leader of the Rebel Alliance, and nobody batted an eye at it. Padme was the queen of an entire planet, and nobody questioned it. And when her term was up, she was replaced by, you guessed it, another woman. Women have been in power in Star Wars before. This isn't some revolutionary idea that Disney came up with on their own. It's just so stupid, man. They're making it a problem by talking about it. Okay, moving on from the Holdo trash, we have the Finn and Rose side plot, which, surprise, surprise, is also terrible. So, Finn and Rose come up with a plan to sneak onto the lead First Order Star Destroyer. So they contact Maz Kanata, and she tells them to go find the Master Codebreaker on Canto Bight. They arrive on Canto Bight, and they park on a public beach. Now, why the fuck would Finn and Rose park on a beach? Seriously, why would they do that? It makes absolutely no sense at all. They are idiots. Even a guy told them they can't park there. It's a public beach. Why didn't they listen to him? Are these two trying to get caught? What did you two think was going to happen? See, this is another example on how this movie fails on a writing aspect. Rian Johnson needs to get Finn and Rose to meet DJ so they can later be betrayed by him, pushing the plot forward. So how does Rian go about this? He makes his characters retarded so they park on a beach instead of doing the logical thing, which is to park in a parking lot. Which then leads them to get arrested, and then they just so happen to be put in a cell with someone who can also hack into a Star Destroyer. And keep in mind, Maz said she only knows of one guy who can do it.
This is rarefied cracking. You want to get on that destroyer? I only know one option.
Maz is 1,000 years old. She owns a cantina, which has all sorts of people coming into. She has so many connections with people, and she knows of only one guy who can do it. One guy! So obviously, this is a very rare trait to have. So how the fuck do they just so happen to end up in the cell with someone who can actually do it? Rian, why are you being so lazy here? Could you seriously not find another way for them to meet DJ and then escape prison? It's just like you gave up.
I'm a really lazy writer.
So he hears Finn and Rose talking, they turn him down, and he just gets up and fucking leaves the jail cell.
What? What the fuck?
If he can just walk out, why is he even in there in the first place? Where did he get that card from, Rian? Who gave it to him? Who did he steal it from? Why is he in his ship? It's like a child wrote this movie. Seriously, I'm a child and I know this movie's retarded. Come on, Rian, how old are you? You're 48? You're a... What? Why the hell is DJ in prison? I just don't understand. The amount of coincidences in The Last Jedi are insane. I get movies have a ton of coincidences, but this is just too much. So, if he could escape, why would he even be sleeping in there in the first place? If he needed to sleep, he could have just stolen a ship, because he seemed to be quite capable of doing that. He did it with BB-8, so why didn't he just sleep on a ship instead of at a literal jail cell? How was this movie released to the public? For real people to watch. I keep saying The Last Jedi makes no sense. Because it really doesn't make any sense. Seriously, it blows my mind that a movie can be this poorly written. For fuck's sake, man. Why did he decide to leave now of all times? And why the fuck is he in prison if he has a key card that can open the cell he's in? Where did he even get that from? Okay, I'm just going to go over this quickly again so everyone can process the pure insanity that is The Last Jedi. Finn and Rose park on the beach instead of at a parking lot for no reason. Then they get caught and get thrown in jail. But don't you worry, because they just so happen to be put in the same cell as a guy who is able to hack into a Star Destroyer, which is a very rare trait. and then all of a sudden, he just gets up and walks out of the prison. What the fuck is this movie? Okay, so I'm just gonna forget about DJ, just walking out of prison. So here's another problem I have. Why didn't Finn and Rose close the pothole they crawled in? Why wouldn't you cover your tracks while running from the police? Really? Why wouldn't you do that? I'm convinced they are trying to get caught at this point. How do they have this many fuck-ups? Good God! The pure retardation of this movie hurts my head. Maybe Rose is like a double agent or some shit. I don't fucking know, man. That could explain a lot. Wait, the fuck is that? Is that a space llama? Oh my God!
Carl, that kills people!
I love llamas. Oh wait, no, it's a fucking deer! Wait, is that a horse? I don't know. Help! Rose thinks it's a good idea to destroy the entire casino with space llama horses to get payback on the rich. Because, yeah, capitalism's bad. You gotta be a communist now. I love you, Karl Marx. Rose fails to see the eventual consequences of her actions. The rich don't have to do anything. All the slaves like Broom Boy will have to clean up the mess of the llamas. And it'll probably cause them to get beat more by their masters. Sure, you ruined one night for the rich, but you ruined weeks or months for the slaves. All the people attending the casino will get over it by the morning, or sooner. I hope you're happy, dumbass. Also, the space llama deer horses were most likely born and raised on a farm. The ones that aren't found will probably die because they won't have a clue what to do out in the wild all alone. Rose is legitimately the dumbest character in Star Wars. Even dumber than Jar Jar Binks. And Jar Jar was actually written to be a moron. Rose became one on accident because Rian Johnson is a brain-rotting first-class dumbass. It's also very convenient that neither one of them fell off the cliff. Wouldn't that just been great, if Rose just fell? I don't know. That would have been funny. I think it's so funny how grumpy Rose looks here. She's like Luke. Just so fucking mad all the time. Ugh, I hate this place. Why can't we go somewhere else then for our first day? She's just so pissed off with the rich. God damn rich. Why are they trading arms with the First Order? Disgusting. Shut the fuck up. I don't want to watch a Star Wars movie just to be lectured about how arms trafficking is bad and that I shouldn't do it. I'm sure not everyone there sold weapons to the First Order. What if they establish businesses and earn their money from the ground up? Or are you punishing them too, Rose? Whatever. Kylo Ren tells Rey a nice bedtime story about the time Uncle Luke was being a fucking psychopath and tried to murder little Ben Solo in his sleep because Uncle Luke was having bad nightmares. It runs in the family. And then Rey's like, what? And she goes over to Luke and kicks his ass. How the hell did she even do that? Rey trained for only 1 day. Yes, this is canon. Look it up. Luke has 35 years of experience on her. How did she win? And then Luke admits to attempting to commit the murder of a teenage boy in his sleep, and then Rey's like, oh, okay. I'm gonna go try to turn Ben to the light side now. And then Luke's like, no, Rey, you can't do that. You don't know what you're doing. And then Rey's like, you can't stop me. Bye, bitch. Then she leaves. So then Luke decides to burn down the big tree with the sacred Jedi texts. But then Yoda shows up. Bitch, where have you been this entire trilogy? What have you been doing?
Run over minorities in my 2001 Honda Civic, I will.
Were all the Force ghosts just jacking off in heaven or something? Where were they? Why come now instead of it being sooner? And why was it just Yoda? Where's Obi-Wan? Where's Anakin? Hey, Anakin, how about you go help out your son, jackass? Hey, guys, maybe you should have talked to Luke, before he tried to kill his nephew in his sleep. Then Yoda strikes the tree with lightning by simply moving his finger. Dude, Rian Johnson is the dumbest fucking person alive. If the Force Ghosts can interact with real-world objects like that, then why the hell don't all three of them go to the First Order and murder them all with lightning and save the galaxy? How about you go kill Snoke? How about you go kill Kylo Ren? On the topic of Force Ghosts, why didn't Anakin go over to Kylo and say, hey, you do realize that I've turned to the light side and brought balance to the Force, right? And maybe you shouldn't be evil anymore. If you want to finish what I started, then how about you go kill Snoke so the last of the Sith can be destroyed for good? Why didn't Luke ask Anakin to talk to Ben? It just doesn't make any sense. Rey and Kylo get to the throne room, and then Snoke starts to brag about how he cannot be betrayed, and then Kylo Ren betrays him by killing him. Now, Snoke is a terrible character, so I could care less about him, but I find it so funny how J.J. Abrams clearly had plans for him, and then Ryan just said, no, fuck your Snoke, he's gonna die. And you know damn well J.J. was so pissed. So he decides to trash on everything Ryan did. It's like two clowns fighting. It's very entertaining. Anyways, everyone knows how awful the throne room fight scene is. Like look at this. Why is this guy spinning for no reason? And right here, he can most likely deal the killing blow to Rey, but for some reason he just swings over her head. Because Daisy missed her cue. Nice job, Daisy. Fucking bitch. This guy runs away for no reason. Where are you going? She's that way, numbnuts. Then these three guards just stand there and wait for Rey to kill this one guy. How very polite of them. When she kills him, all three of them go for her blade at once. Well, why not just have one guy lock blades with her and then have the other two fucking murder her? Aren't these guys supposed to be the best of the best? They are the guards of the supreme leader of the entire First Order. Now look at these guys fighting Kylo. It's not as bad as it is with Rey, but it's still bad. This guy spins for no reason. Then these two spin as well. Why do you guys keep spinning? What tactical advantage does that give you? You've mastered the art of spinning in circles. What else can you do? This one guy waits for Kylo to hit his weapon. See, right there? He's not moving. Then these two spin so Kylo can kill this guy. This guy spins twice. And then this fucking doofus runs into Kylo's blade for no reason. Nice going, genius. Go run over to somewhere and pick up one of your dead friend's weapons. Don't use your arms. Then finally, there's a magical, iconic, disappearing weapon. It's just an absolute mess. And I don't understand why they didn't have more takes. Look at Revenge of the Sith. Ewan and Hayden trained for months for their duel on Mustafar. And because of that, it's the best choreographed duel in Star Wars by far. So why wouldn't they have Daisy and Adam train? Imagine how badass this fight scene could have been if they trained for it. Because I like the idea of having the beginning be all one big take. It's a cool concept, but Jesus Christ, the execution is awful. But there's one thing I like here. I like when Kylo throws that guy into the fan and he gets shredded. That was cool. They all got badass weapons, too. Like, this guy has his whip thing, and then this guy has a dual-sided sword thing that can, like, split into two, and it's really cool. And the set they're on is so badass. You got everything burning around them. You got stuff that's on fire falling from the walls. This has the potential to be so amazing. The one good idea Ryan had, and he still failed. Come on, man. Kylo and Rey have, like, a chat and stuff. I'm not going to talk about this that much, because I share the same opinion as a lot of people. So I'll just say this. I think it was better that Rey is a nobody, because you don't need to be a Skywalker or Palpatine to be powerful in the Force. Alright, that's all. All hope is lost. The Resistance transports are getting destroyed, so Admiral Holdo decides to hyperspace ram the Star Destroyers, completely shattering Star Wars and its lore into little tiny pieces. I know everyone has said this, but I feel like this video wouldn't be complete without it. Why didn't everyone in, like, every space battle ever just start sending damaged ships into lightspeed to destroy the enemy ships? Why didn't the rebels lightspeed ram the Death Star? Look at Red Leader. He's gonna crash directly into the Death Star and die. His fate is already sealed. Why doesn't he just hyperspace kamikaze the Death Star? Why didn't the rebels have a droid pilot an X-Wing and have it lightspeed ram Darth Vader's executor before the invasion of Hoth? You'd take out Vader and a massive ship, and all it'll cost is one ship and one droid. That's a pretty good trade-off for the Rebels, all things considered. If they had a full frontal assault on the Star Destroyer, they would have lost so many more ships. But no, all they needed to lose was one. It just destroys everything. The list goes on. And you can't say it doesn't matter because the Rise of Skywalker said it was a 1 in a million shot. Well, forget about the fucking Rise of Skywalker, because it's obvious that this was not Ryan's intention at all. If it was a 1 in a million shot, why would Hux and this other guy be terrified of what she's about to do?
Fire on that cruiser!
They should be laughing at her. I have really bad anxiety, and even I wouldn't be scared if the chances of dying are 1 in a million. Here's how a real Imperial officer would react to the Rebels trying to make a shot with those exact same odds.
Analyze their attack, sir, and there is a danger. Should I have your ship standing by? Evacuate? In our moment of triumph? I think you overestimate their chances.
Great shot, kid. That was 1 in a million.
There's no defending this garbage scene, and I don't care how beautiful it looks, because that doesn't matter. This scene still destroys everything we know about hyperspace. The lore is fucked. Admiral Gender Studies is no hero. Finn and Rose make their daring escape from the TIE fighters, and they crash into the base on Crait, nearly killing everyone there. Nice going. How did nobody die from that? They came through the door so fast. Why is everyone in this trilogy so dumb? I get these two want to survive or whatever, but why risk the lives of like 30 other people so you two can survive?
Rose, you're not dead!
God fucking damn it!
I'm telling you, Rose is evil or something. She's gotta be a spy, alright? The Rebels get in these raggedy-ass speeders and attack the AT-AT walkers. Sound familiar, huh? So the First Order sends up TIE fighters, and they are absolutely annihilating the speeders. But then suddenly, out of nowhere, Rey comes in and shoots 3 TIE fighters in one shot. Fucking Indiana Jones ripoff. How did she possibly have any time to learn how to shoot like that? She didn't learn on Jakku because she's never flown a ship before. So how could she have possibly learned it in the 1-day time period that these two movies take place in? It must have been a crazy fucking day, man. She shoots better than Luke Skywalker, who actually has experience with ships. She's shooting better than Han Solo, and this is his ship. And then she shoots 2 other TIE fighters with 2 shots. She hasn't missed a single shot. And people say Rey isn't a Mary Sue. That's funny.
I like this!
I bet you do, fucking bitch. So then Hux orders all the fighters to attack the Falcon. Now, I don't understand if Kylo did this, because he's an emotionally unstable bitch who hates the Falcon for very personal reasons. But for some odd reason, Hux is the one to do it. Aren't you supposed to be the smart one? Why would you order all your fighters to attack one single ship? That's the dumbest tactic ever. If it wasn't for Double Agent Rose saving your asses, your cannon would have been completely destroyed. Then what would you have done? Speaking of Rose, Finn is about to sacrifice himself, which would complete his character arc. The cowardly stormtrooper who was afraid of the First Order, now a selfless hero who is about to sacrifice himself to save the Resistance. It would have been perfect for him. But nope, we can't have character arcs. We have to have your classic expectation subversion. So dumbass Rose decides to T-bone Finn. You're lucky to be alive.
I saved you, dummy.
And then Rose is like, oh, that's not how we're gonna win. You can't fight what you hate. You gotta love. Then she fucking dies. Then the door blows up and she kisses him. And just look at poor Finn's face. He looks like he wants to die. Hey, Rose, your sister died fighting what she hated. The way to save what you love in a war is to fight what you hate. What a controversial, groundbreaking take. I know. You're a fucking idiot, Rose. Once again, my spy theory holds up. The only reason why she would do this is if she was the spy. Finn somehow drags Rose all the way to the base, too. Did nobody see him at all? Okay, man. The Luke and Leia scene is probably the best scene in this entire trilogy, but it's really hard to enjoy it when you realize we were robbed of getting more of this. We could have seen Luke, Han, Leia, Chewie, Lando, 3PO, and R2 all together. But nope, we can't have that. Why make everyone happy? We gotta kill them all off in the most disrespectful way imaginable. Han's a deadbeat dad who walks into his son's lightsaber and fucking dies. Luke fails at life and fucking dies. Leia just stands there and fucking dies. Kylo orders all the walkers to fire at Luke, and then he starts screaming like a psychopath. Then the smoke clears away, and you see Luke brushing his shoulder, and I cringe so hard every single time I see that. Kylo goes down and fights Luke. Then he rages so hard when he figures out that it's not actually Luke. I don't get why Ryan gave Luke a blue lightsaber. Kylo should know that it's the same lightsaber that he and Rey just broke like 10 minutes ago. Why didn't Luke have his green lightsaber? The only thing I can think of is that Ryan thinks the fans would be too stupid to understand that it's a force projection, so he made Luke look drastically different. He's got shorter hair, he's wearing different clothes, and he has a broken lightsaber. And there's no red marks from his tracks either. It's so obvious it's not really him. I think it's so funny how Disney thinks Star Wars fans are this stupid. But in reality, it's not the real Star Wars fans that are stupid. It's just their fans that are stupid. I think it's so fucking disrespectful to have Luke be a force projection. Why the fuck didn't he just go there himself? He died anyways, so what difference does it make? He's being such a pussy. Just go get your X-Wing out of the water and get your old fat ass to Crait, you piece of shit. Then Luke just fucking gives up on life and dies. What? How did he die? Did he have a massive force stroke or something? What the hell? And then you have him staring at the twin suns. That makes no sense. Why are there twin suns there? The planet should be burning hot like Tatooine. I just don't understand. Whatever, I guess. I don't fucking know anymore. I find it so funny how they always try to pay tribute. You assassinated all of our heroes, danced on their graves, dug up their graves, opened their coffins, and took a shit on them. Why the fuck are you paying tribute now, you jackasses? Then all of a sudden, Miss Mary Sue lifts up the giant boulders and saves the day. Now keep in mind that Rey only trained for 1 day, and Luke trained for a couple months and was only able to lift up a couple stones in R2-D2. Rey is holding up hundreds of giant boulders. They aren't little pebbles, no, it's the shit that Indiana Jones would run away from. She is a Mary Sue, and if you say otherwise, I'm sorry, but you're an idiot. Then the movie ends with everyone hugging each other on the Falcon, even though all their friends are dead. Why do they all look so happy? Whatever. So yeah, that's my long-ass summary of this movie, but don't click away just yet. There's still more to discuss here. One of the biggest issues with this movie is the characters, so I want to take this time to look at some of them. I know I touched on a couple of them briefly when I was talking about the plot and stuff, but I want to take a more in-depth look at them. However, I'm not going to be talking about Admiral Holdo and Rose, because I already said enough about them. Oh, hey, Uncle Luke. What's up? Sweet dreams, you little shit! I know so many people talk about Luke in this movie, but I want to as well. Now, right off the bat, I just want to say that Rian Johnson doesn't deserve all the blame, because he didn't start this. J.J. Abrams did. He was the one who made Luke Skywalker vanish in the first place. But Ryan still does deserve some blame because he did nothing to fix this. He made it worse. So yeah, now with all that out of the way, let's continue. This is some of the worst character assassination of all time. People say, oh, he's a failed hero, so it's actually good storytelling, and it teaches you stuff. No, it doesn't. Just shut up. Mark Hamill tried to warn us, and I love how people say, Well, Mark admitted to being wrong, so actually, Luke does make sense in The Last Jedi. Stop injecting mass amounts of copium into your veins, you fucking addict. You know damn well KK the Wicked Witch of the West told Mark to shut his mouth. If not her, then some higher up in Disney did. I don't buy the complete 180 he did. It's so obvious they didn't want him to be saying this stuff.
You know, it's not Luke's story anymore. So you have to fill in your own backstory. I'm sure there'll be comic books and video games and novels that tell the story, but...
I'm just going to break in here and make sure that everybody out there realizes he is so significantly important to this next film. You have no idea.
Well, that's good to hear.
Anyways, back to Jake Skywalker. So he tries to murder his nephew because he had a bad dream. Now, Luke Skywalker would never do this. Ever. The real Luke Skywalker would want to help Ben. Maybe he'd sit down with him, have a talk, something like that. Just help him, instead of fucking murdering him like a psychopath.
I can't kill my own father.
Oh, so you can't kill your dad, but it's completely okay to kill the son of your sister and your best friend? Good to know. He can't kill his own father, even though Obi-Wan is literally telling him that everyone will fucking die if he doesn't murder Vader. But he tries to kill his nephew because of a bad dream. Now that I'm thinking about it, that's really fucked up for Obi-Wan to say that. Luke, you must kill your father. No, I don't want to kill him. Luke, everyone you know and love will fucking die, and it will all be your fault. Because you were a little bitch and couldn't kill your evil asthmatic war veteran dad. The Emperor has already won. You were our only hope. Now look at Darth Vader. He's done some pretty fucked up shit. He watched an entire planet with billions of people on it get destroyed and did absolutely nothing about it. He did this. Murdered a bunch of people. Did this. This.
I am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
Oh yeah. And this. And that's only the stuff Luke knows about. Even with all that, Luke still said there is still good in him. Yoda, Obi-Wan, Palpatine, and even Vader himself said that Luke was wrong and it's too late. And you want to know what Luke said? He said, fuck all of you. I don't care what you think. I'm going to save him anyways. So why would he try to murder his completely innocent nephew over a bad dream? It doesn't make any sense. There's no defending this because it is completely out of character and it is disrespectful to George Lucas and it is also disrespectful to Luke Skywalker's character. Luke almost died to prove a fucking point about being a Jedi and about Anakin Skywalker still being a part of Vader. So what I really want to know is, what the hell happened to Luke's balls? They must have been cut off or something because he's a little pussy now who runs away from all his problems. People use the argument that Luke feared that Ben would become another Vader. Now, that is a completely reasonable fear for Luke to have. However, what people don't understand is that Luke Skywalker wouldn't have tried to kill Ben. Here's a good example. In Heir to the Empire, Luke is afraid of training Han and Leia as twins because he didn't want to fail like Obi-Wan did and have another Darth Vader situation all over again. But in that book, Luke doesn't go over to Leia and stab her in the stomach while she's sleeping. Jesus fucking Christ, that's dark. Well, sorry, Leia. Don't want them to become evil. Had to be done. There's always a next time, right? Luke wouldn't just give up like that and try to murder his nephew. Luke said it was the briefest moment of pure instinct and he thought he could stop it. Bitch, if you have the pure instinct to murder your nephew in his sleep, you're a fucking lunatic. Man, don't you just hate it when you have the instinct to kill a child while he's fucking sleeping? Luke Skywalker is all about hope. He is the face of hope. He rarely ever gave up. At the Battle of Yavin, literally everyone died, or in the case of Wedge, left because he was about to die. Luke watched as all these experienced veteran pilots dropped like flies at the hands of Darth Vader and his wingmen. Gold Squadron starts their trench run, and a few minutes later, the entire squadron is completely gone. Then Red Leader, the best and most experienced pilot there, loses his wingman, misses the target, and then dies. And just look at Luke's face. He's like, oh shit. It seemed like all hope was lost. But Luke Skywalker didn't give up. He was like, alright, listen up, motherfuckers. We're gonna go in that trench and blow this bitch up. Luke kept his calm and started telling Biggs and Wedge what to do. Wedge even calls him boss. Then Vader and his boys come in, and the music is all tense, and Wedge is hit and has to leave, and then Biggs, who's Luke's only friend, dies, but Luke doesn't panic or accept defeat. He doesn't have time for that bullshit. He still tries to do it by himself. I mean, sure, he would have died if Han didn't save his ass, but at least he still tried, right? He never lost hope. He used the Force like Obi-Wan said and blew up the Death Star. In Empire Strikes Back, Luke gets his ass handed to him by Vader. What does he do about it? He doesn't run away. No, he gets back up and keeps fighting until he physically can't anymore. Vader tells him that he's his father, so now Luke is at his lowest point because he just found out that his dad is a murderous psychopath. Sure, he's really upset about it, but unlike Jake Skywalker, Luke Skywalker doesn't run away from his problems. He faces his problems head on. He's like, Dad, listen, I sense the conflict within you. I know Anakin Skywalker is still a part of you. And he kept pushing and pushing Vader, just fucking with his emotions until he finally turned to the light side. Now, I want to bring this up because some Last Jedi defenders don't understand this. So they say that Luke actually has given up before. He quit on lifting up the X-Wing. Well, you're confusing hope with patience. Luke has very little patience and a lot of anger, just like his father.
The boy has no patience, much anger in him, like his father.
That is the reason why he can't lift up the X-Wing. And since he's pissed off and has no patience, he has convinced himself that Yoda is asking for the impossible. And then Yoda's like, listen, bitch, it's not impossible. I'm a motherfucking 2-foot-tall frog, and I'm about to show you how to lift up this giant-ass spaceship. Now sit your ass down and watch. When you're angry, you can't think straight. You aren't yourself. You just want to give up and be done with everything. This is exactly what's happening to Luke here. He is only human after all. So I don't want to hear any of that bullshit about Luke giving up on Dagobah. He is still a hopeful and optimistic character throughout the entire trilogy.
Besides her longing for her family and parents, what would you say is another weakness for Rey?
I do not think that is a weakness. Great question, but I don't think it's a weakness. So yeah.
Do you think she has any just kind of inherent weaknesses or...
I mean, I don't really believe in weaknesses in people.
What? Rey is the worst character in Star Wars history. Not Rose, not Holdo, not Jar Jar. Jar Jar isn't even that bad, let's be honest. Not even random nobodies like my boy Spaghetti Rook. I'm not over-exaggerating either. Rey is legit one of the worst characters of all time. Nothing with her feels earned because she's so good at everything. How are you supposed to feel anything when she succeeds? When Luke Skywalker blows up the Death Star, you feel relief. When Luke Skywalker is getting murdered by Papa Sheev, you start to worry. You're like, oh shit, my boy's about to die on me. You don't get that with Rey because she succeeds at everything and hardly ever fails. And whenever she does fail, she never learns from it because why would she need to worry? She can do anything she wants because she's a strong, independent whammon. She's unlikable and she has no personality. Wow, what a great character. JJ is the one who created this mess of a character, but Rian could have turned it around for Rey. He could have explained how she had her powers. How did she beat Kylo Ren? How did she mind trick that stormtrooper? How come she was so great at flying? I can just keep going on and on. But nope, he had to be lazy and make her even more of a Mary Sue than she already was. Rey learns this terrible truth about her parents and is completely devastated. she's crying and stuff like that. So you'd think that this would last throughout the rest of the movie, right?
I like this!
Never mind. She's just gonna be her happy old self again, huh? Okay, then. Rey hardly has any struggles in The Last Jedi. The only one is her parents being nobodies. Wow, look how hard it is for Rey. Her parents are nobodies. Luke's dad is an evil space Nazi who has committed mass genocide on multiple occasions. I don't know about you, but I think I'd rather have my parents be nobodies than a mass murdering psychopath. And Rey always knew her parents were nobodies too.
You know the truth. Say it.
They were nobody.
Luke was lied to his entire life by every single person he ever trusted. They all told him his father was dead. Rey has it so easy compared to Luke. Luke has other struggles in Empire Strikes Back. But what other struggles does Rey have in The Last Jedi? Oh yeah, that's right. None, because she's perfect. This movie is supposed to be the lowest point for all of our heroes, and Rey hardly has any issues at all. That's a problem, because she's the main character. I said before that Rey has no personality at all. Now, I want you to stop and think about this. How would you describe Rey? Like, what characteristics can you use for her? Like, I guess she cares about people? Sorta? She's determined? Or whatever. That's really all I can think of. Wow, her character has so much depth. She cares about people and is determined. Those ideas are so original. She's just a watered-down, unlikable, flawless version of Luke Skywalker. How can you relate to someone who's perfect? Oh yeah, that's right. You can't. Anakin Skywalker is the chosen one, and he's still relatable. Luke is the son of the chosen one, and he's still relatable. But Rey isn't. There's nothing more I can really say about her. She's an awful character with no depth or personality whatsoever. Finn was completely wasted in this movie. He had an interesting character concept in The Force Awakens, and he's a person of color, which is what Hollywood seems to orgasm over nowadays. So it really begs the question, why didn't Disney use Finn more? Oh, yeah. No, but seriously, he should have sacrificed himself. He did absolutely nothing of value in The Rise of Skywalker. He could have easily been replaced by someone else. Nothing in this story changes if Finn dies. He didn't defeat the First Order. Rey did on her own by killing Palpatine. She still would have killed him if Finn was dead. He didn't really do much of anything to help. It's almost like this trilogy wasn't planned out. Oh yeah, that's right. There's nothing more I can really say about him. It's just wasted potential. Kylo Ren is the same story as Rey. He was JJ's mess, but Rian did nothing to fix it. Rian really could have showed us how threatening Kylo Ren could be. But nope, we can't have that. We still have the emotional crybaby who throws temper tantrums when he doesn't get his way. There isn't really much to say about him because the only thing he does in this movie is scream. He has the Force Skype thing with Rey, which is actually kind of interesting. You know, our main hero and villain being connected is a cool and unique idea. But the only problem with that is our main hero and villain are terrible characters. Okay, so I bitch a lot about Kylo Ren not being threatening and being nothing compared to Darth Vader. There's a simple way to fix this. Just show Kylo Ren being a badass. We got a glimpse of it in The Force Awakens for about the first 10 minutes, but that's all we ever really got. Just show our villain being an evil person. Make the audience feel worried for our heroes whenever he's on screen. Darth Vader has this presence to him. You just know everyone is fucked whenever he's there. Nobody dares to interrupt him when he talks, and if you insult him, you pay the price. I just wish we had more scenes showing us the ruthlessness of Kylo Ren. He could have been a great character if he was written well. He's played by a great actor, he looks sick as fuck, he's got a menacing voice, well, at least when he has his helmet on. He He's got a cool lightsaber, all that good stuff. So, less of this, and more of this. That's basically all I'm trying to say. It's that simple. Okay, all the threatening stuff has a simple fix. Well, what about the writing for his character? Just fucking hire a good writer instead of Dumb and Dumber. And no, I don't want you to think that my main issue with Kylo Ren is that he's not a badass. No. My main issue is the writing. The writing is awful. Like, seriously, I think the solution to that is what I said. Just don't have those two fucking morons write him because, they don't know how to write for shit. Just look at their 3 movies. Fucking idiots. That's all I gotta say about him. You've probably noticed that I hardly had anything to say about Finn and Kylo Ren. Well, that's because these characters are so shallow. I don't even know what to say. I have no clue what to say for Poe. I didn't even write anything down. He's just kind of there in the movie. I don't know, man. Just like Finn, Captain Phasma is such a great example of wasted potential. She's the most badass-looking stormtrooper ever. She's chrome and has this black side cape thing with a red outline. Her gun is chrome too. She's got bulletproof armor and a cool name. She was completely wasted in The Force Awakens, and she was completely wasted in The Last Jedi too. People call her the Boba Fett of the sequel trilogy. Motherfucker, she is nowhere near the level of Boba Fett. At least Boba Fett did stuff. He tracked down Han Solo for Darth Vader, and then he takes Han to Jabba's palace. Now what does Phasma do? She presses a button and gets thrown in the garbage. She captures Finn, fights him, and then dies. Also, why do we need another Boba Fett? Just stop fucking trying to steal from the original trilogy. Phasma should have been her own thing. She should have been more involved in the story. She could have been a great antagonist for Finn. They have a history. Phasma clearly hates him to death, and Finn clearly hates her to death. But no, Finn can't have a character arc. Only Rey can because she's a woman. Phasma should have kicked Finn's ass in this fight, and then he can defeat her in The Rise of Skywalker, just like Luke and Vader. Vader straight up owned Luke and Empire, with no challenge whatsoever. And then in Jedi, Luke finally defeats Vader. It was a hard victory, but he still won. They could have done this with Finn and Phasma. Have Finn and Phasma fighting in The Rise of Skywalker. It could be a long fight that will test both of them, and in the end, Finn will come out on top. That's all I had to do. That's all I got for the characters. As I said before, they're just all so shallow. They have little to no depth whatsoever. It's just so disappointing. The comedy in The Last Jedi is some of the most unfunny shit ever. It's trying so hard to be quirky and funny like Marvel is. Well, to be fair to Marvel, a lot of their shit is actually funny. Well, pre-Endgame Marvel, that is. They kind of lost their touch now. Yeah. There's only like 2 things that are actually funny in The Last Jedi. There's that scene where Jake Skywalker tickles Rey with the leaf telling her that it's the Force. And then there's Leia flying, which I gotta hand it to you, Ryan. That's some funny shit right there. But the rest of their jokes are just so fucking bad. You got Yo Mama jokes, Hux getting thrown around multiple times for laughs. Oh yeah, and Finn says this awful one-liner that makes me want to rip my ears off.
Let's go, Chrome Dome.
And how could I forget the legendary Ben Swolo? I just don't understand why Star Wars needs to be like Marvel. And I don't want to hear the comedy is subjective bullshit. Nobody's laughing at this trash. Like, come on, let's be honest here. You don't know a single person who finds this movie funny. Don't get me wrong. Star Wars is pretty goofy at times. I mean, the Empire was defeated by vicious man-eating teddy bears that worship C-3PO as a god. But The Last Jedi takes the jokes to a whole nother level. There's so many damn jokes in this movie, it's so annoying. I'm not saying there shouldn't be any comedy, because every Star Wars movie has at least a little bit, But with that being said, The Last Jedi has more jokes than the entire original trilogy combined. That's a big problem. And it's even more of a problem since 99% of the jokes are not funny at all. And there's this really cringe as fuck Maz sex joke.
Sounds like this codebreaker fellow can do everything.
Oh, yes, he can.
Ryan, please keep your fantasies out of the movie. We already have a sick fuck who puts his fantasies in everything he works on.
And she looks strong.
We don't need a second one. Thanks. And no, I don't want to hear that it's okay for The Last Jedi to have jokes in serious situations, because in Empire, 3PO was funny. Well, 3PO isn't trying to be funny or quippy. We, the audience, find it funny because he's scared and screaming like a bitch. It is in character for C-3PO to be acting like this in a stressful situation like that. But when you have characters cracking jokes when they are about to fucking die, it's a problem. The characters themselves need to be acting serious because, most of the people in The Last Jedi are acting out of character for the sake of a joke, and it's so annoying. This movie just can't take itself seriously, but it also wants you to take it seriously, and it's very confusing. I want you to picture this. So, it's during A New Hope on Yavin 4. You hear the announcer at the Rebel base say that the Death Star has cleared the planet. And then Leia turns over to 3PO and says, 3PO, wipe that nervous expression off your face. That's basically what happened in The Last Jedi. Why would Leia be cracking jokes when all of their lives are at stake? Leia and Poe are talking about whether they should evacuate or destroy the Dreadnought. And Leia's like, we're going to lose a lot of ships if you attack the Dreadnought. Don't do it, Poe. And he ignores her because those ships are fleet killers and there's not very many opportunities to take one of them down. And then after that conversation, Leia tells 3PO to wipe that nervous expression off his face. Why set up a tense moment like that just to have it be ruined by comedy? I just don't get it. So many Last Jedi haters use the tonal whiplash thing as an example because, that's really what's happening here. This should be a serious scene. Other Star Wars movies have had jokes, but at least George knew when to be serious, most of the time. This movie just doesn't know what it wants to be. One minute you have Poe cracking yo mama jokes, then the next you have Leia and Poe having a very serious conversation. Then Leia cracks a joke right after that. And then it's back to seriousness with the bombers and all the death and destruction, and Leia's really sad because of how many pilots they lost. And right after that, it's back to comedy again. Hux gets ragdolled around by a giant snowhead, and then Finn is walking around with a leaky bag, and then you get to the Force Awakens cliffhanger. And then you're like, oh shit, this is what I've been waiting for. I can't wait to see what Luke says. Oh, he's not gonna say anything. He's just gonna throw his lightsaber off a cliff for a quick laugh. Okay, then. This movie is 14 minutes in, and it already has 5 bits of comedy crammed into serious scenes. Can you see why that's a problem? And it's not like it stops either. This goes on for the rest of the movie until the very, very end. Listen to this scene.
They can track us through light speed.
Yes, and they could... I can't feel my teeth. What did you shoot me with?
Why? Just why? For fuck's sake. The hyperspace tracking is a major plot point, and it should really be this scary thing that keeps you on the edge of your seat, just wondering how the Resistance will escape this. But it's completely ruined by the stupid jokes. Finn, shut the fuck up. You know better than anyone else how important this is. And the only thing you care about is your teeth being numb. Get the fuck over it. Here's a joke that works and actually doesn't feel forced at all. So there's nothing really going on in Act 2. It's very peaceful, no stress, no war, no violence, nothing like that. Luke is telling Rey about the Force, and he tells her to reach out, and then she literally reaches her arm out, and then he rolls his eyes and tickles her hand with a leaf and tells her that it's the Force. And then he hits her with the leaf, and she's like, oh, you meant reach out with the Force. That was actually a really funny moment, and I laugh every single time I see it. Now, why does this joke work so well, but all the other ones in this movie fail. Well, there's multiple reasons for that. For starters, there's nothing dire going on at Act 2, as I said before. Also, the setup is really good as well, and it's in character for both of them to act like this. I could see the real Luke Skywalker doing this, and I could see Rey doing this because she shouldn't know anything about the Force, even though that's been contradicted multiple times already. But that's not my point. Okay, here's some more examples of tonal whiplash now. Rey and Kylo get connected with their Force Skype thing again, and Rey is really uncomfortable because Ben Swallow doesn't have a shirt on. And then 2 seconds later, they talk about Kylo murdering Han Solo. And then after that, Kylo tells Rey about the time when Uncle Luke tried to kill him in cold blood. Poe leads a mutiny, holds Holdo at gunpoint, and takes over the entire ship. And then after that, it cuts something that looks like a ship, but in reality is actually an iron. And then you see BB-8 with a box over him as a disguise, and it's supposed to be funny or whatever. And then after that, Rey and Kylo have a conversation about how it's not too late for Kylo to turn to the light side. Then they walk into Snoke's throne room, and it's all scary and tense. And then right after, BB-8 crashes into a wall because he can't see. Way to ruin this really important and suspenseful scene. It would be like if Vader screamed no before he killed the Emperor. Thank God that didn't happen, though, because it would have ruined the best and most important scene in Star Wars. Oh, wait. Never mind. Okay, I'm getting really tired of this, so here's a speed run. Rey tries to get her lightsaber, but it gets bonked in the head with it. Finn and Phasma are about to fight each other, and then Finn aborts this trash out of his mouth, killing the mood of the entire scene.
Let's go, Chrome Dome.
The rebels are getting ready for their final stance, but this one guy eats the ground, and Gareth Edwards looks at him in a funny way. And then Kylo sees Luke and gets really mad. Then he tries to brutally murder him, and then after that, pulls a Hulk and pushes Hux to the side. They really do be acting like Hulk when it comes to Hux, though. And then finally, Luke has this serious talk with Kylo, and then he screams no in the funniest way ever. Ugh, fuck this movie. I didn't even mention all the jokes. I just mentioned the ones that personally annoy me the most. There's a lot more. So basically, to sum up my thoughts on the comedy in this movie, it's terrible, and Star Wars doesn't need to be like Marvel to be successful. All you need is a good Star Wars-y story. So stop trying to force jokes into the movie. I bet Ryan's trilogy will be just as tonally inconsistent as The Last Jedi. This part is about the unoriginality of The Last Jedi. I already made a video about this, so if you want a more in-depth look, definitely go check it out after this one. It covers more than just The Last Jedi stuff, too. But this review wouldn't be complete if I didn't talk about it, so I'm gonna have to. The Finn and Rose love story is a complete ripoff of Han and Leia's in Empire. Finn and Han want to leave because one of them has a debt he has to pay off with Jabba the Hutt, and the other one is a pussy. But Rose and Leia, the women they fall in love with, try to stop them. But it doesn't work. But then, the threat of evil space Nazis forces Finn and Han to stay. Then the lovers escape and meet a shady dude who sells them out to the evil space Nazis. And no, don't say it doesn't count because the only reason they sound similar is because I simplified the stories. Here, I'm going to quickly simplify the Attack of the Clones love story. Anakin has an obsession with Padme, and Padme thinks Anakin is hot. Anakin gets sent on a mission to protect her on a very romantic planet. He gives her the sand, and then they decide that they can't fall in love, but they change their mind because they were about to die. So then they kiss and stuff. Yeah, that's pretty different from The Empire Strikes Back. So basically what Ryan did was simplify Han and Leia's love story, then he took the simplified version and added his own bullshit twist to it. Like Canto Bight with his forced political messages, and the Rose T-Bone kamikaze scene. So, I really don't get how they fell in love. All they did was fuck around in a casino for about an hour, and then Rose tried to murder him. Ah, yes, the sign of true love, trying to murder your partner in cold blood. Aw, aren't they so cute together? I don't even have to explain Crait. It kind of speaks for itself. You'd be a moron if you couldn't see the similarities. Here's Luke and Rey stuff now. The main character goes to a planet and trains with an old Jedi Master in exile. Then the main character wants to leave, but the Jedi Master said no, it's too dangerous, you can't leave. But the main character doesn't care and leaves anyways. Luke and Rey go into dark and eerie caves and have crazy visions. Luke fights his dad and then decapitates him, which leads his mask to fucking explode, revealing Luke's face. And Luke is very shocked and confused by this. In Rey's vision, she sees the shadows of her parents walking towards her. Then when they start getting closer, they form into one person. And then the smoke clears away, revealing Rey's face. And she is very shocked and confused by this. So, why are they going into caves and learning stuff about their parents? It's a little weird. Darth Vader and Kylo Ren tell Luke and Rey a horrible truth about their parents, leaving Luke and Rey devastated. And then Vader and Kylo ask Luke and Rey to join them, but they both get turned down. The Last Jedi also rips off Return of the Jedi, too. Luke and Rey have a talk with Vader and Kylo Ren. They try to convince them to turn to the light side, and they both say that they feel the conflict within them, and that Anakin Skywalker and Ben Solo are still a part of them. Then they arrive at the throne room of the evil old deformed guy in a bathrobe. He welcomes the main character.
Welcome, young Skywalker.
Young Rey, welcome.
The bathrobe guy undoes the main character's handcuffs, and then the conflicted villain hands the main character's lightsaber to the old guy in the bathrobe. Then the old guy says it was I, while revealing important news.
It was I who allowed the Alliance to know the location of the shield generator.
It was I who bridged your minds.
Then he fucks with the main character by showing them the destruction of the ongoing space battle, telling them that defeat is imminent, and tempts them with the dark side. The main character pulls a lightsaber towards themselves because they're pissed. And the guy in the bathrobe finds this very amusing. Then the conflicted villain kills the evil old guy in the bathrobe to save the main character's life. So remember what I said, like, a minute ago? About Ryan taking the Han and Leia love story and simplifying it, and then adding his own bullshit to it? Well, if you didn't notice, that's what Ryan did for the rest of the movie, too. He just took bits from Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back and simplified all of it, and then he added his own trash to it. That is really pathetic. I think it's funny how Rian Johnson is trying to push the let the past die message while simultaneously stealing major plot points from the past and putting it in his own movie. Rian Johnson is consistently a very inconsistent person. Say what you want about the dialogue, acting, and the dated CGI in the prequels. Elise George wrote a beautiful story. You can tell he really tried on the story aspect, too. It's honestly pathetic how Rian Johnson doesn't even try to write a good story. I seriously don't understand how people defend this movie. It is legitimately one of the worst films of all time. This movie makes zero sense. I've probably said this about 40 times in this video. The plot is an absolute train wreck, and I am so sick of people praising this movie. Even some of its haters say it's a good movie, but not a good Star Wars movie. What the fuck does that even mean? Whoever says that has a fucking fence 12 inches up their ass. If you enjoy this movie, that is completely fine. I seriously could care less. Some people just don't care about writing and plots. They just like to turn off their brains, watch a movie, and have a good time. And that's completely fine. But don't call The Last Jedi good, because it really isn't. It's a cinematic nightmare. It is objectively a terrible movie. Some people even go as far as to call it a cinematic masterpiece. I'm sorry, but if you actually think that, you're an idiot. Ryan is a talentless hack. Even Rian Johnson thinks Rian Johnson sucks.
I write sporadically and badly with no rhyme or reason whatsoever. I don't think I could ever like actually write for a living, like write for hire, because I take so long to write, and I just it's bad, man. It's no good.
Why the fuck are you even writing a Star Wars movie if you think like that? Why are you even writing any movie in general? Just go work at fucking McDonald's, you round-headed retard. Why does nobody talk about him saying this? It's insane. Why did they hire him to do the 8th installment in the biggest movie franchise of all time if he thinks he can't write for hire? I just give up. So, what do I like about The Last Jedi? Because there's gotta be something, right? Well, the soundtrack kicks ass, because John Williams can never do wrong, unless it's The Rise of Skywalker, but we don't talk about that. Other than the soundtrack, what else is good, you might ask? The visuals are good, I guess. But that's to be expected from a multi-billion-dollar company like Disney. Their movies and shows should always look beautiful, even though they don't a lot of the times. I'm looking at you, She-Hulk. I think it's funny how people say that The Last Jedi will be looked upon fondly later down the line, just like Empire Strikes Back was. There's two problems with that. Number one, people loved The Empire Strikes Back when it came out, and number two, The Last Jedi is a terrible movie, so there's nothing to look back on fondly. You can't judge the public's perception of a movie based on the critics' reviews alone. Just look at The Last Jedi, for example. All the people that I've asked who were alive back then said that everyone loved it at the time in 1980. I asked my dad, my grandpa, some of my uncles, even my mom said so. Listen, I know you can't judge the whole public's perception of The Empire Strikes Back from the words of several people, but, still thought I'd mention it because why not, right? Like, if you just look at interviews or just ask people who were alive back then, everyone will say that people loved it. Now, why would people start spreading fake news about The Empire Strikes Back not being well received when it first came out? Well, look at when they started doing it. I only started hearing people say that The Empire Strikes Back wasn't received well after The Last Jedi came out. Think about it. Have you ever heard someone say that before 2017? It's just The Last Jedi fans trying to cope with the fact that The Last Jedi is an awful movie that everyone hates. Just stop living in denial and accept that this movie's trash and get over it. So, yeah, in conclusion, The Last Jedi is fucking terrible. Okay, yeah, that's all I got. Here's some yub-nub, bitch.